Could Godzilla stop an invasion from hell? After yesterday's video, I think so.
And this week I thought we'd go back to Godzilla. As you guys know, Godzilla has the public perception of being a jobber, like a farmer. If you guys watched like any of my other Godzilla videos, you would know that this perception is not accurate, as there are dozens of very, very strong versions
after
of the
what
character.
I saw,
but
I think he
nonetheless,
can beat
all
Goku.
except for one Godzilla is seen as a weak character. But who's the one? And well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you guys Godzilla in Hell. This is the one version of the character that people will concede to having any actual notable power. Even the biggest anti-power scalers will say that Godzilla in Hell is very, very powerful. This Godzilla's best feat is just surviving and soloing Hell. But how would the King of the Monsters fare against another fictional version of Hell, being the Hell as seen from the Doom franchise? These guys literally conquered dimensions, so I thought that this would be a fun matchup.
Bro,
so
if
join
a
me
human
today
could stop
as we'll
them,
replace the Doom Slayer with another
I think
force of
Godzilla
nature.
can.
Will Godzilla in Hell solidify himself as the strongest iteration of the character, or will he leave much to be desired? But before that, if you guys like the power scaling content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We post weekly videos and we cover a wide variety of topics from Godzilla to Five Nights at Freddy's. This is the channel you want to be at. With all that garbage out the way, let's...
The Justice League versus the Saiyans? Bro, Justice League stomps.
Let's get into the matchup. And I suppose I'll start off with Godzilla.
Bro, it's the Justice
I figure
League.
that's what most of you guys
They got Batman.
Before we start off, though, I want to say that due to the narrative of the comic, it's a little bit contentious as to what his metas actually are. Godzilla is the protagonist of our story. This is notable because Godzilla can't talk. Stack that on top of the anthology format of the story, and you get a comic that's laced with a lot of ambiguity and misconceptions. So I'll start off with some of the lower end scaling for Godzilla in Hell, then I'll switch over to Doom scaling as it's much more straightforward and easier, honestly. And then I'll go back to Godzilla in Hell and use some of the higher end interpretations. So starting off with the lower ends, Godzilla in a beam clash with Space Godzilla destroys the entire planet. Calculations for this feat put the energy output at roughly around 4.43 quintillions of TNT, or dwarf star levels of power. But if you look into the context for this feat, it's actually...
Bro, he blew up the Earth. You don't gotta tell me how much TNT, bro. The Earth blew up.
Much greater, as they're fighting in a realm created by the devil himself. This dimension has stars, and it's arguably the size of a universe. This is notable because later on in the issue, Space Godzilla fuses with them, and Base Godzilla is able to put up a fight with them for a little bit. This is consistent, as Space Godzilla is confirmed to have absorbed literally billions of supernovas, and Godzilla arguably was superior to him in their original fight, granting the King of the Monsters stellar to galactic to arguably universal levels of power, as Godzilla can fight a being amped by a being that can create entire dimensions. Moving on, Godzilla in this issue gets a new divine form, which goes on to stomp Space Godzilla while amped. Godzilla got this power from God Mountain, who created the entire universe. And Godzilla, with his newfound power after beating Space Godzilla, will go on to destroy God Mountain for seemingly no reason at all, which would solidify God...
I'm not gonna lie, this is a bit ridiculous. Like, a giant lizard is out here conquering God Mountains and blowing up universes, and like, bro, like, that's crazy.
Being Space Godzilla will go on to destroy God Mountain for seemingly no reason at all, which
would
solidify Godzilla into the universal levels of power. By destroying the creator of the cosmology, Godzilla would scale to the cosmology. So how big is everything? Well, for starters, Hell seems to be a macrocosm, as it contains multiple infinite-sized realms that are separate, but come together to form one gigantic-sized construct, arguably giving Godzilla in Hell some low multiversal scaling. But you can argue even higher, as some statements outside of the comic seem to infer that the cosmology is indeed a multiverse, meaning that at a mid-end, Godzilla in Hell...
I got a question. So is this one of those things where it's like so many people wrote Godzilla comics that they just started throwing the most craziest stuff out there and not really caring about power scaling? They were just trying to tell like crazy ass stories, or like the creators knew, they were like, yeah, we're gonna make Godzilla like one of the most strongest fictional characters ever.
Would scale anywhere from low multiversal to possibly even multiversal. And as for speed, it would be around infinite speed, as he's able to literally walk from new pockets of hell into the next one, even though these realms are infinite in size independently, both in size and length. And as previously mentioned, Godzilla scales to the being that created everything. Alright, I want to take a break from Godzilla in Hell for a moment and move on to Doom scaling, just to see where they scale in comparison to this mid-end. As let's suppose talking about the Legion of Hell from Doom, if they can't even take on Godzilla in Hell's mid-end in terms of scaling. And before we get right into it, I would like to say that this level of power is far eclipsed by the high tiers in the Doom army. But first, let me clear the air with some misconceptions. Alright, so unfortunately, a lot of the mid to low tiers are kind of a non-factor in this fight, as even before Doomguy's time as a Slayer, he was proven to be able to kill them with guns, with even the highest of the low tiers being
he
the
ripped his arm off back in 8-bit?
killed by a Doomslayer without even any weapons. So it's safe to say that a lot of the
32-bit?
hordes and minions of the army don't really scale to the Doom guy. And yes, I know they can kill him in gameplay, but that's clearly
his gameplay. Yeah.
As canonically, he's able to
gameplay.
take on hordes of these guys and rip them apart with his hands and stuff. So it's overall safe to say that they don't scale anywhere to where I'm gonna scale the high tiers. And where they scale normally is just so like inconsequential. Like I've seen some large building to city block level calcs, but I mean, who cares? This Godzilla's like blowing up planets and dimensions, bro. So when I talk about hell from Doom, I'm gonna be talking about 3 tiers of power, being the Khan Maker, the Icon of Sin, and the Seraphim and Devoth, respectively. I bunched up the Seraphim and Devoth into the same like level, so we'll go over their scaling at the same time. But another thing I want to talk about is the fact that people downplay everything in Doom because, you know, they're getting killed with weapons and stuff, like guns. Are they street level,
those
you know,
are some different type of weapons.
And no,
man.
this isn't the case because Hugo Martin has confirmed that the Slayer's weapons are endowed with his own physical power and they're extensions of his powers. Think of it like if Goku had a gun that could shoot his own attack potency. You know, that's just like low multiversal guns, you know? But there's also the fact that 99% of the Slayer's weapons just fire weaponized Argent energy, which is extra dimensional and infinite in power. But starting off with the Khan Maker, she would be around low complex multiversal or 5D because she was able to shake Urdak. Urdak is located in relation to Hell and it parallels it. Hell being a place which transcends time and space. The Icon of Sin would upscale this, as in lore, he's prophesized to be the one to destroy the Makers, and the Khan Maker in the game wanted to control it. The Icon, just by existing, was noted to be breaking down space-time, and his plan was to create a black hole that would go on to destroy the entire universe. The Icon is also stated to be the strongest of Hell's demons, and he's consistently referred to as a World Eater, which can be interpreted as dimension, as that terminology is often
World
used
Eater
to
is
talk
something.
about the entire universe.
World Eater is way beyond just Earth. Like if something's called the World Eater, like it's talking about universal.
Interpreted as dimension, as that terminology is often used when talking about entire universes or realms. Like for example, many worlds are stated to have fallen to Hell, and we know that Hell's plan is to like destroy dimensions and universes and timelines. And then you have the Night Sentinels who quote found worlds, but if you played the game and read the lore, you know that they just found other universes. Overall, the Icon's best scaling comes from upscaling the Khan Maker, like I said, but I think it's pretty nice that even consistently in lore, he's a universe ending threat. But moving on to the high tiers of the verse, being Devoth and the Seraphim. The Seraphim,
are we sure that's not a Warhammer character?
The Father being a being that was able to fight the Dark Lord Devoth in a battle that, quote, shook all of Hell, which transcends time and space 5D block.
Okay, so Godzilla versus Warhammer 40k, who wins? Like all of 40k versus Godzilla in Hell, who wins? I need to know.
Blah, blah,
blah. I need to know, bro. Is he stronger than 40k?
The entire cosmology.
Because 40k is crazy.
Universe composed of infinite timelines per universe. He did this by molding the primordial void to his liking, and by the end of the Ancient Gods DLC, he's stated to have created everything and that he would destroy everything. Hell is also stated to be an extension of himself, so in conclusion, he's significantly stronger than characters who can shake 5-dimensional realms, and he can create them casually. As for speed, all these characters would at least be infinite speed, but more than likely they would be immeasurable speed, as the Makers could fly throughout creation, so they would be able to fly to different universes and different dimensions. But if you take into account that
I'm hearing a whole bunch of blah blah blah, strong, blah blah blah, strong, but bro, I ain't gonna cap, bro. I feel like Godzilla could destroy all of this, because I feel like Kratos could destroy all of this shit. And I feel like after what I saw yesterday, I feel like Kratos might have a hell of a fight going on against Godzilla.
Also fly
I don't even know
time
anymore.
And space, that would warrant immeasurable speed, which is fair enough because a lot of the scaling we got over just revolved around scaling to 5D planes and constructs. So yeah, immeasurable speed. In conclusion, Legion of Hell is quite formidable, but don't count the Lizard King out yet, as we have yet to dive into his truly spicy meta.
That's what I'm saying.
In order to get into the higher ends of Godzilla and Hell, we're gonna have to dive deeper into the cosmology and the ramifications of it. As previously mentioned, God Mountain rules a multiverse, but it's confirmed via author statement that this multiverse is composed of every single IDW Godzilla publication, which is a whole tangent in itself.
Whoa, wait, what the hell? All right, so basically, for those who don't know, basically he said this mountain is Godzilla everything. Everything Godzilla that's ever been made is this, and this guy destroyed it. Wow.
That this multiverse is composed of every single IDW Godzilla
That's
publication,
crazy.
which is a whole tangent in itself.
That's crazy.
As using other stories from the IDW publication.
That's crazy.
We have alternate universes, infinite universes.
That's
and
crazy.
I found this entire thread
And he
that I'll link
destroyed
in the
it.
description. I'm not going to do a deep
Yeah, go
dive
link that
on the
shit, 'cause we ain't
ramifications
got
of that,
time.
because
That's
the same
long.
author on multiple occasions has confirmed
It's
that
the
his
same
multiverse
author?
is infinite in size.
Oh, so
Remember
he's
this,
the guy.
because it's very important.
So he
because
knows
in
what
the
he was
official
doing.
drawing of the cosmology, we see that God Mountain views the entire multiverse as a finite construct, as heaven and hell transcend it not just on a spatial level but on a mathematical level, meaning that God Mountain in heaven is 5D. Combine this with a statement that says that he's infinite in power, and he would be 5D to an infinite degree. All of this scales to Godzilla because he killed him. Quite simply. So it seems in a battle of 5D, Godzilla and Hell has the edge.
Godzilla wins in 5D.
I'm sorry, guys. Hell from Doom on multiple occasions has been confirmed to be infinite in size and length, and it's surprisingly consistent. And as we talked about, even the freaking con maker somewhat scales to Hell. But nonetheless, I still think that Godzilla and Hell would be able to beat both the Con Maker and the Icon of Sin, because it's confirmed that Godzilla can destroy his cosmology. So he seems to fall into the same tier as the Voth, who threatened to destroy his entire multiverse as well. So who wins? And to be honest, guys, it's seeming like it's kind of a tie or inconclusive at the moment. But that's a cop-out.
Godzilla.
I guess I'll talk about the Godzilla and Hell higher end interpretations then. Now, I scale Godzilla and Hell's cosmology to any other previous IDW Godzilla publication. That's fair enough in my opinion, as the events from Godzilla and Hell are also referenced to be Godzilla's greatest battle yet. IDW said that themselves, so I thought that scaling it to that cosmology was fair enough. But people like to take it a step further and say that God Mountain transcends all of IDW. Now, I'm not going to do that personally, as that comes with a lot
man, that's a big feat. Like, beating all of Godzilla.
Mountain transcends all of
but Sonic? That shit's crazy. Like I thought Sonic was a joke. Sonic is crazy. Sonic is crazy, dude.
As that comes with a lot of ratty crossverse implications.
And Batman and Star Trek. Oh, damn.
I just don't think any Twitter statement is in the proper jurisdiction to
man, who gives a fuck, bro? That's Twitter, bro. They ain't got
accurately assert answer. But as previously mentioned, we can scale it to any IDW Godzilla publication, and that's fine and dandy for us, as one of those stories is a crossover with Power Rangers, which would
the Power Rangers went against Godzilla. Who won?
Mean that Boom Studios Power Rangers run would scale to the Godzilla and Hell cosmology and be a part of what God Mountain views as finite. This is important because multiple times during the Boom Studios comic run, it's stated that the multiverse is
Bro, Rita Repulsa got some wild boob guard, whatever, boob armor.
This is important because
what is this?
Multiple times during
what
the
is this
Boom
boob?
Studios
I never noticed her boob armor look like horns.
It's stated that the multiverse is infinite, not only in their stories, but even in the Godzilla crossover alone. It's stated that there are an infinite amount of universes, making that word of God statement consistent. But diving into the really, really important stuff now, the Boom Studios Power Rangers run has the grid, which is a higher plane of existence in the multiverse. And during a run in Power Rangers in which the multiverse was threatened, it's stating that the grid would tank the multiverse destruction. But if you don't like that for some reason, some guy on Twitter asked the author if the grid transcends the concepts of space and time, and he said yes.
Some dude on Twitter asked the guy, and the dude said yes. I feel like this is some bullshit, man. I'm not gonna lie. Once people start asking the authors on Twitter, and then they just say yes or no, it's some bullshit, man. That's like if I tweeted at Akira Toriyama, I was like, hey, can Goku beat everybody in fiction? And he just says yes. And we just that's Akira Toriyama. He made Goku, so obviously he's right. Like, nah, man, come on. We need something deeper than that. Yeah, the yes is like no.
Scaling, but due to the lack of elaboration on the author's part, as well as the question literally being the definition of baseline universal, I think it's kind of a leading question. I think you can assert it to mean 5D because that's kind of consistent with the comic, but I'm not going to use universal. That's just dumb rat wank, bro. But nonetheless, that would make the Godzilla cosmology an infinite multiverse with 5-dimensional realms. Going back to our illustration of God Mountain now, he transcends the multiverse and views it all as finite, meaning that he's actually 6 6-dimensional, and he would be an infinite degree into it due to having infinite power. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. What about 6D Erdok scan? I didn't mention it until now because the scan doesn't mean anything. In fact, it's been debunked in the way that some of you guys have been trying to assert that it means. First of all, in lore, dimensions usually just means universes. This is confirmed in the guidebooks, right? As well as confirmed by Hugo Martin himself.
Damn.
There
Can you
are
get
multiple versions
a clearer?
of hell, but then there's like all of these other dimensions that connect to hell. Hell is the first world.
I guess that by dimensions you mean universes, like a multiverse.
Yeah, people have asked me that there's a multiverse.
And there's also the fact that Earth is called the 7th dimension.
Send you back to your home, the Earth world, in the 7th dimension.
Oh, okay. So they basically said,
Erdok being labeled as the 6th
big.
dimension just means that it's the 6th universe or something like that.
So it's not that big. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's not 60.
So the Voth and all the high tiers of hell capping at around infinite 5D, while Godzilla and Hell has pretty solid infinite 6D metas. You guys should be able to tell what happens.
That's a dub.
Am I being a biased Godzilla fan?
That's what it sounds like a little bit.
Or do you think that Hell has no chance
against the Lizard King? Brother.
I can't speak for all you guys, so you guys can comment whatever you think. But I know for at least me, Hell truly stood no chance against the king of the monsters.
Yeah. But I need to know, could Godzilla beat Bobo?
Bow, 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 bow.